What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course, and this is one that if you watched last week's weekend's videos, I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday. The Zone SS is out. This disc is amazing, or at least it was the one day I threw it. So we're gonna see if it has a spot to slot into my bag. What I'm thinking right now is it's going to be somewhere between the stability wise of the Proton range and distance wise of the Envy. The Envy is going to be a little bit more stable. It's not going to have the same flip up. So I think these two are going to pair very, very, very nicely, because having something that is understable but still torque resistant is extremely useful when you're throwing short shots. So let's go ahead and start tossing some discs. You know, we probably shouldn't start with a forehand though, just to make sure that I don't accidentally. Yeah, we're gonna go backhand first, and I think we're gonna go slow to fast. And since these are 2, 3, 4, let's do that. Got perfect flip up with the range. I love the range for those soft shots. Every once in a while, you get to a spot where the range just doesn't go quite far enough, but you want the same shot. And for a lot of times, that's going to be backhand power shots or forehand shots for me. And so I always thought that the range was similar to a proxy, and it kind of did proxy but shorter for me. And I wanted to stick a proxy in here, but the proxy doesn't have the fade or the torque resistance for a forehand that the Zone SS has. All of that being said, Envy now. Oh, yikes. Okay, yeah. That's why early in the morning, soft shots, tunnel gaps, an angle of hyzer seems to work a little bit better than an angle of tree. And there's that flip up. Okay. I love the range. I love the Envy. I love the Rhino. It might turn into more of like a hybrid between a mid-range and a putter. But I am very, very, very excited about sticking a Zone SS in my bag. Did not think I would like it, but it's amazing. And this is a mold or a type of disc that I just don't think exists. That designed to be torque resistant, designed to be understable, designed to have that little bit of flex to it. But it's a little bit faster, because the range does that, right? You can get putters to do that. It just takes beating them in. I love overstable discs that are beaten in to be somewhat straight to understable. And the Zone SS is that out of the box. And I think it's the only mold like it on the market. And when you find a mold that there's only one of, and it fills a spot for you that you had to beat in a disc to get to that point, you just need to bag that disc. So We're going to be putting the Zone SS in the bag. We're going to keep trying it out. On this hole, we're not going to be using the Envy though. We're testing out forehand, torque resistance, can we hit a line? I'm going to be trying out the range versus the Zone SS here. Flat to a hair of hyzer on the release and just try to smooth it, I think. And since I'm more comfortable, more confident with the range, I think we're going to go range first. There's a tree there. But I love that you can just kind of smooth it through there and get it to go straight, maybe a touch of drift. I love the range for those drifty shots. It doesn't always come back though. If you hammer it too hard, it does overturn because it is still a 2-speed putter. This might have that ability to not overturn because you threw it too hard, because it's a faster rim disc. It's designed as a zone, but it's just a beat up zone. I mean, can you ask for anything better? I never throw forehand on this hole because I'm always trying to flex a shot. But now that I have a Zone SS, so then we get to a hole like this, where the basket being pushed into the 330 placement, and I still want to kind of throw a hyzer flip at it. The range, if you try to power it up to above about 250, 260, it will start to turn over. So at this distance, if I can actually get the range there, it's going to be up there next to the road or in the street OB. So we're going to try it. The Envy has the ability to, it's going to fade back, but the Zone SS, I can hit it on the closer, tighter line, and it's going to flip up and then settle down nicely without turning over. So we'll go Zone SS first here. Flips up and then gets that nice little skip back in to make sure that it's not going OB. Now I'm not fully warmed up enough to be able to get these putters all the way there on this throw, but at least you're in the right shot shape. Oh no, I pulled that low. Yeah, that's not going to show us what we want. Now for the true test, does the range also flip over when you accidentally overpower it? Okay, so if you start the range on enough hyzer, it'll stay on hyzer. It won't get all the way to flat. But I threw that pretty hard and on a lot of hyzer, way more hyzer than the Zone SS was on. So the Zone SS being the more comfortable amount of hyzer for me to throw on, to have a more consistent, accurate release, I can throw farther shots with the same shot shape by using a different disc that is already the right shot shape and just a faster rim. So I'm loving the Zone SS. Let's go throw, I think, 2 or 3 more holes and be prepared to see a lot more from the Zone SS, because similar to the Pyro for Maxium, it's one of those molds where there's only one that does this out of the box, and it's perfect. So until somebody else makes a competitor, Pyro's staying in, Zone SS is staying in, Rhino's staying in. There's a couple of those molds where they're just, there's only the one of those molds, and they're perfection. Then we get up to a shot like this, which I would typically just throw forehand overstable, try to park it. However, if you try to throw a backhand on a shot like this, it needs to go to the right, and it is uphill. So when you throw uphill, the nose angle of the disc is going to be more nose up. Just because the angle that it has to climb, it has to be more nose up. But it also has to be on anhyzer, which is a typical accidental nose up shot. So a disc like the Envy might be difficult for people to get all the way over there to the right, because the likelihood is it's probably going to stable out before it gets all the way up there. Even for me, it's probably going to stable out before it gets all the way up there, because the uphill, the nose up, the turnover, all of that works against us when we're trying to throw this shot. And how that anhyzer started to stable out into the hillside. Versus a shot like the range, where I'm going to have to throw it really hard to even reach that distance throwing it uphill. So can I get it to come out flat enough or throw it hard enough for it to actually turn over on this shot? I don't know. I've never actually tried it. So first time for everything. So a little bit of a drift, but because this is a faster disc, if we can get it up to speed, that little bit of a drift should carry us a little bit further, because it doesn't have an intense puddle top built into the disc. So it's going to have more glide just based off of the shape of the disc. However, trying to get it to do that shot, will it hold? Again, first time for everything, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's gonna hold. That was almost an ace run. That was amazing. Can you see that I'm very excited about this disc? It's like a range that glides farther. It's like a range that goes further. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually very similar stability to my super old beat up Star Rock 3, which that might end up being its own bonus battle, because that would be fun. But very similar stability. The Rock 3 started out as a 0.3, and it got beat in to where now it has a turn to it. And so it's probably a -1.2, similar to the Zone SS, which is why the stability feels so comfortable to me, which is why I love it so much, because it's doing the things I'm expecting it to do the second I release it, and it's amazing. So I think last but not least, we're going to do this shot, because this shot is a very fun shot to throw, and I got a leaf in my tripod. Cool. Distance-wise, I think this hole will help tell us some things, because I just haven't been throwing the Envy very well. So if I can get a clean release with the Envy, we'll get to see distance-wise Zone SS versus Envy. But also, watch the shot shape between these two. It's going to be fairly similar, but watch the distance, and that's why I think that you can equally bag both of these. They both do slightly different things. Range first. This basket is 342, and from up here it's probably about 50 feet down, so it's a lot more of a drop than it looks like from up here. Okay, too much hyzer, and could just barely see that land. You probably won't be able to too. I'm a little bit taller than the eye level there. See if we can't get a clean release with the Envy. That was pretty clean. Just about pin high. And that's on a thrown on anhyzer flex line. Now I'm gonna throw this Zone SS on a hyzer. Let's see what happens. And that is absolutely parked. You may not be able to see it, but I can. So that is a really, really good disc. And the more I start to learn the angles and trust the angles, I'm starting to be able to throw things more consistently on hyzer. The Zone has never made it. The Zone has never fit. The Zone, for some reason, has just never worked out. I always was leaning more towards the Toro, more towards the tactic. But then I found the pyro, and this is something totally different. It says zone on the stamp. It says that it's a zone. It kind of feels a little bit like a zone, but it does not do zone things. It is absolutely amazing and phenomenal. If you haven't had a chance to go throw one or check one out yet, go do so. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. And if you want to be automatically entered into monthly giveaways, check out the memberships as well. Until next time, see you out on the course.